Welcome to SkillsBlox. We're delighted you've joined us. SkillsBlox comes from the Primary Business Partnership, and it's all about helping you to help your students understand the skills that they're going to need in the future. I know, they're only primary, but do you know what? The earlier you start to understand your skills, your abilities, the more confident you are with them later on, the more commonplace it becomes for you to be able to, retell other people what you're good at, and also to understand where your skills fit into the world. So there are 7 skills based on Tony Wagner's Skills for the Future, which have also been adapted by the OECD and the World Economic Forum. So they're really important and they're really useful to young people now and into the future. So the first one is being a good leader or a team player. So how do you work as a team? Do you lead as a team? Even if you're not the kind of leader in that team, how do you influence others to follow your lead, to listen to you, to accept your suggestions? How adaptable are you for change? That's number 2. Can you adapt to change? What's it like? Are you a bit scared of it? I like the way things were, or are you open to new changes? So that's a really important skill for the future, because as we know, technology is changing all the time. So the better we are to adapt to change, the better we cope with the future. Are you curious and imaginative? Do things happen and you go, "Oh, right, okay," or do you go, "Ooh, I wonder why that happened"? Being curious and imaginative is really important. How could I change that? How could I make that better? How could I improve on this situation? So being curious and imaginative, that's number 3, really important. Even if you're great at these things, if you can't help people to understand what you're talking about, how you've written it down, how you vocalize, then that's also quite a problem. So being a good communicator is number 4. How good are you at communicating? How good are you at getting the message across? So communication is 2 things. It's speaking and it's also listening. So how do you get your message across in writing, using words, and how do you work as a team player also listening and involving communication in that way? Now, everywhere we look, there's information. How good are you at accessing it, but also using that information? I mean, we could type into Google or any other search engine a question. Within half a second, we have loads of responses. But which ones are the right ones, and which ones are accurate, and which ones are verified, and which ones are the important information, and which ones are just news and opinions? So accessing and using information is really, really important. What happens when things goes wrong? What happens when things go wrong? We need people who can solve problems. Now, that's what engineers do. It's what people like doctors do. It's also what people like nurses do, and also creative people. They come up with ideas that help people to solve problems. So being a problem solver is number 6. That's fantastically important. And in order to be able to solve problems, you need to be able to do number 7. And number 7 is being creative and having really, really good ideas. Sometimes we have ideas, but we're a bit quiet. We think, it sounds a bit silly because no one else has had that idea. Maybe you're the person that has the most creative ideas possible. So they're the 7 skills for the future. And through SkillsBlox, you're going to be able to work with your students. You're going to be able to help them to understand their own skills, to reflect back. There'll be a series of ways to kind of reflect on those as part of the sessions. We've also got SkillsBlox advisors who are going to come into your schools or work virtually with your students to help them to understand some of the resources, to talk about their skills and how they've been important, and also help your students to reflect back. There'll be a SkillsBlox passport, and also we're going to have wall posters, so that will help you and your school to kind of constantly reflect on the importance of developing skills alongside academic abilities and being able to express those skills for the future. Thanks very much. Look forward to your feedback on SkillsBlox, and we hope you have a fantastic time with your students.